Hey everybody, I've had a lot of questions about my 3D printing of pilots, and I wanted to throw together a really short, quick little video about it. I've had a lot of people ask me about what these things weigh. Okay, so I'm going to weigh this head. Now this is about half scale, or about 47%, but since people are different sizes and heights, I just averaged it. This weighs 3.5 ounces. Okay, this guy here weighs 2.2 ounces. This guy here weighs 2.1 ounces. And this little guy here weighs 0.4 ounces. Okay, now, one thing I want to tell you that's really hard about doing this, and I'm getting it figured out, it's just taking a lot of time and a lot of kind of experimentation. But when you print a pilot head, and it's hard to see it here, I printed this one as thin as I possibly could. Okay, which means it has very little, and you can't see it on this one because I put a bottom on it, same here, but basically you have what's called infill when you do a 3D printer, and the infill is how solid do you want this object. Okay, some objects I print I want 100% solid because I want strength. Some of them are just eye candy, so I want to print them as light as I can if they're going to go on an aircraft. Okay, so this guy here came out a little bit too light because actually where my layers are, they separated a little bit. This outer wall was just a little bit too thin. I also had my 3D printer set a little bit too high on each layer. Each layer wasn't smashing against the other layer, making it adhere very good. Okay, so I'm going to be doing heads and hands for my pilots, and then I'm going to do the body out of styrofoam or something else. Now, one thing that I don't want to get into, and I've gotten a lot of emails about this, is am I going to start selling these? Right now I don't plan on selling any of them. Okay, I might have a couple of friends that want to reach out to me and I'll make some heads and parts for them. But right now at this time, I just don't have time in life. I'm trying to get the C-130 done. Got to be honest, been messing around with the family a whole bunch, which is, you know, #1 in my life, and it's just I don't have a lot of time for the hobby right now, and my work is swamped. I've never been busier in my life, so I just right now I don't plan on selling pilots. This took 26 hours to print. Okay, and there's a lot of places things can go wrong. Okay, there were supports that printed up out of the bed that held the chin, held the nose, held the ears. If any one of those during the print, and they're very fragile, if you make the printer go too fast, when it goes, these supports can get moved around a little bit and they break off, and now your print's ruined. Okay, the very top of this head, when it started to try to close it up, the ABS started to curl up on me, and I actually had to stop the printer or pause the printer and lightly sand that plane so that as the 3D printing nozzle come around, it wasn't running into the material. So, and this is the tallest I can print on my 3D printer. Okay, my 3D printer only goes, I got it written down here somewhere. It must have fallen down. Maybe this is it. Yeah, my 3D printer only goes 200 millimeters high. It goes 250 across, 210 deep, and 200 millimeters tall. And actually, I'll stick that there. So this is the biggest head I'll be able to produce unless I start it up on the neck higher, but you want to have the neck. Okay, so this is about 48%. Don't know if that looks like it's almost half the scale of my head. And heads are weird because if you take the width of a head, and I don't have a ruler to measure the width of my jawline and this jawline, okay, so if this is my jawline, okay, so this actually, compared to the width of my face, is a little bit more than half scale. So this isn't easy stuff, okay. This helmet had to be supported by all kinds of structure when it printed. So Same thing with this. The arms had to be all supported. His collar had to be supported. And here's one of the things. When I go to print bigger, I have to know how to set the program to compensate. So it was really easy to print this with the collar, but I tried printing one that big with the collar and it wouldn't work. I just couldn't get my supports to connect in the right place. This was my very first attempt to just do a little pilot, and as you can see, it wasn't very good. Now, one of the reasons I did this is I did it as a fast print. It wasn't a real high resolution print. So if this would have been high resolution, I think he would have turned out a lot better. So I hope this answers a lot of the questions about the pilots I do, and I had no idea I was going to get such a response from people. The reason most of my pilots are bald right now isn't because I'm bald. I'm going to try to find some kind of hair to put on these. Okay, I know they make toy hair and all that stuff. Because every pilot I build is not going to be bald. Okay, I got to figure out how to put hair on these guys. But this one will get painted up as a prototype. And oh, one last thing is you can take acetone, and you can get this entire thing real wet with it, and it starts to melt it, and then you can kind of polish it. That kind of works, and it kind of doesn't work for me. I would rather take a really heavy, like 220 sandpaper, and just start sanding on this. And you can see over here where I started to sand on it a little bit, just experiment, and it sands pretty easy. So I'll probably end up sanding this head down, then putting a coat of skin color on it, and then painting it out from there. One of the problems I've got with pilot heads this big is it really does need eyelashes. Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm going to find some kind of a fake eyelash, but I'm not going to spend that much time on the pilots. I got to get the C-130 done. I've got to get the MSL back in the air, which it's just a battery issue. I've got all my batteries. I just got to put connectors on them. I hope to go to some fly-ins, and I want this pilot in the MSL. So that's one reason I'm working to get this guy done and taking a little bit of time from the C-130. So I hope this answers all your questions about my pilot heads, and keep the emails coming. I mean, I love answering your emails. It's just, oh, and one last thing is I don't have time to chat on Facebook, as most of you know. I just don't have time to sit and say, yeah, the weather's great here, and how's your weather, and what do you think about the playoffs or what? I don't have time for that. Plus, I don't even watch the playoffs. I only watch one sport, Formula One. So thanks a lot, everybody. And if you got any questions at all, keep them coming to me, okay? Have a great day.